I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. Yet I faith to see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
That was Rosie. Thank you, Rosie, and Peter, and Kurt, and Sarah, of course, the Pulsec Trio. Good morning, good morning. I'm Jeff Barry. Pleasure to see all of you on this Celebration Sunday. We're so blessed to have you in our presence, but we like you here better if your cell phone is turned off. Okay, or you can check in, on Facebook, but turn them off. Today we join people around the world sharing Unity's daily word. Today's word is consciousness. I use my creative power for a fulfilling life. New Thought leader Emmett Fox said, "We have the key to life, and that key is that life is a state of consciousness." He went on to say, "The great creative word is I am. It is the secret of life." How exciting it is to know that I hold the key to life through my consciousness and the creative power of my words. Whatever I hold in thought, whatever thoughts I connect with divine nature, I demonstrate in my life. When I connect my consciousness with I am, divine power within me, I use my creative power to bring about the good I desire. In God consciousness, I'm continually aware of my divine power. I affirm the truth about myself. I am wise. I am whole. I am love. I am worthy. I am good. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Now, we have the daily word outside in the Sunshine Gallery. We have May and June, and I think I saw July and August out there earlier this morning too, large or small print. So please get your copies of that. And today we have the Higher Ground as our vocal guests, and they're going to come up right now.
Good morning, everyone. We're wearing leis because we're going on vacation after we sing today. We're off for the summer, so this is the final performances before we take a break. But it's been a great year this year, so I wanted to say if anybody wants to join us in the coming year, we start September 10th at 7 p.m. Monday nights, and we'd like to sing the song for you, Grant Us Peace. Also, Shar Bennington on the piano.
Thank you, Higher Ground. Brother Joe Kilikevice is our friend and guest speaker today. He's been with us many times recently, and you should know that he is a friar of the Central Province of Dominicans, the founding director of the Shem Center for Interfaith Spirituality in Oak Park, Illinois, and a director of interfaith retreats throughout the country. Through the use of ritual, chant, dance, and other forms of prayer and meditation, he seeks to bring peace into the world through interfaith understanding and respect. Please give a warm unity welcome to this vessel of spirit, Brother Joe.
Thank you for your warm welcome, and thank you for your invitation to be here. Last time I was here, there were a number of people who came up to me afterwards and said, you know, I used to go to a Catholic church, and I'm really glad that you're here. And I said, and I want to say to you now, if you are Catholic or were Catholic and you found a home here, that's good. I'm glad you found a home and a place to come, because coming together as a family of faith is important. These days, we need to be together with others. It's not a solitary journey. So if you found a home here, good for you. I'm glad. So you hear the good news here in a particular way that is proclaimed by unity. And I've been, in the times I've been here, there isn't anything I can disagree with. It's all good. It's a good message. So thank you. Would you stand, please, and have your hands free for a moment? And if you take your hands and place them on your abdomen, and I want you to feel the breath of God as you breathe. Breathe in and say yes to life. And as you breathe out, say thank you. Very simple interfaith prayer that anyone can say, no matter what your religion or tradition might be. Just breathe in and say yes to life. And breathe out gratitude for this day of life. If you take your right hand and place it with your palm facing the sky, and acknowledge with this gesture the universe story that is above us and around us, and think of a time when you've seen the stars at night and you've marveled at its beauty, splendor. We know that, at least scientists tell us, there are 100 billion galaxies, so vast. We also know that all the particles that make up our bodies were once gleaming in the night sky as stars. We are literally made of stardust. So we belong to that story. And leave that hand there and take your left hand and place it with your palm facing down. And with this gesture, acknowledge the sacred earth and think of what you love about being here. Spring flowers, spring rains, animals, plants, mountains, rivers, streams, animals, food, whatever. It's our home. Love it. Acknowledge that. This is who we are. Earth, women, and men. And take your hands and move them sideways so they end up above and below the hands of the persons on either side of you. It's okay to cross aisles if you wish. Here. Ready to touch, but not yet touching. And make that a choiceful coming down as our hands touch. And notice how differently that feels when you're touching someone. Allow them to hang comfortably at your sides as you continue to touch. You can just scoot over a little bit here so you're not stretching. Just scoot over a little bit. Just a little bit. That's right. So 3 great belongings. We belong to the stars above us and to the earth beneath our feet, and we belong to one another as brothers, sisters, friends, companions for the journey, for the time we're here this day, for the time we're here during our lives. We have each other. What a precious gift that is. We don't have to do it alone. That's what church is about. welcoming one another, and being together. Take a moment to look around and notice how much God loves diversity. That's coded into the universe story itself. And we bless that diversity, whether you're a woman or man, young or in your wisdom years, well or ill, wealthy or poor, gay or straight or bisexual or trigender or transgendered or questioning, whatever that is for you, no matter what your faith tradition may be, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what your victories are, no matter what your questions are, no one's excluded. Everyone's welcome. You belong. Now slowly let go of hands and place that right here in your heart, that message. And I want you to go and say hello to someone and just tell them you belong here. You belong here. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Okay. I think belonging is the most basic right that we have. And there's a lot of people that say you don't belong for one reason or another. So this has to be a place that says everyone belongs. If you show up, you belong. Period. No questions need to be asked about that. Very simple. There's a book titled The Sunflower. It's written by a man named Simon Wiesenthal. It is a story of a man who was one of a crew of workers brought from a concentration camp to work at a nearby hospital where wounded German soldiers were being treated. One of the patients, an officer, wounded and blind, who knew he would die soon, requested that a Jew be brought to his room. A nurse randomly chose one of the prisoners from among the men working outside the hospital building. Entering the patient's room, he found a man lying on the bed, his head completely bandaged with openings only for his mouth, nose, and ears. "Please come closer," the patient said. "I can't speak very loudly." And for several hours, the officer revealed the gruesome details of the suffering he had inflicted upon a particular Jewish family. His guilt and sorrow were palpable. He knew he was dying and was seeking forgiveness for his hate-filled crimes. At the end of the workday, the prisoner was called back to the work crew. And the Jewish man leaves in silence, never having spoken a word during this encounter. But once he brushed a fly away from the patient's head. Back at the concentration camp barracks, the Jew told his prison mates about the haunting episode at the hospital earlier that day. He posed a question: do I have the right to stand in the place of thousands of Jews and forgive this man in their name? He added, what would you have done? The story ends with that question. The second half of the book is comprised of responses to this question from theologians, authors, political leaders, psychiatrists, Holocaust survivors, and human rights activists, each of them with a page or two in response to that question, what would you have done? While reading the book, I found some of their responses helpful in dealing with the complexities of the questions evoked. Some responses were not as helpful. I found the answers nuancing each other, opening the way for further questions coming from differing perspectives. However, one thing did become clear to me. Forgiveness is not so simple a matter as saying the words, I forgive you. Time is needed to engage the process of forgiveness. It sometimes takes years to be free of its pensiveness. At times, what remains unfinished about forgiveness surprises us for a return visit, just when we thought we were over it. I forgive you. I forgive you. These three simple words are so difficult to say to another or to oneself. Choosing to say them or not contributes to an energy that either uplifts or degrades, dignifies or shames. I'm not an expert on forgiveness, but I am someone who has struggled with it. And I can speak about it as someone choosing the path of both forgiving and seeking forgiveness myself. With our personal struggles with forgiveness comes a much larger realization that we are facing an enormous task of living in a world that is being torn apart by so many things that call us to forgiveness. How does one forgive daily assaults on our civility, for example? The words and behaviors that are beyond the guise of politics. The sexual abuse of women, of children. The contempt for those who have worked for many years on the social justice issues of our time. Work to safeguard the environment, to care for the least among us, and for a world safe from gun violence. These are human issues that go beyond political interests. These matters call for our values and principles to be a part of our human discourse. Not our interests, our values and our principles. They contain the mandates to do what is right. Mandates that we give to our political leaders, Democrat and Republican, to act on our behalf. While I have longed for the freedom that forgiveness can bring, I have discovered that forgiveness costs us something. Forgiveness is not cheap. It requires something more than simply saying, I forgive you. It means giving up our right to feel hurt. But it doesn't mean you have my permission to continue hurting me. It also means being attentive to what needs to be restored because of an offense. One of the slides that was up there while we were singing at the beginning of the service, consciousness. Consciousness is noticing what is happening. Who is hurting? Who needs a kind word? Who needs forgiveness, encouragement? Who needs a warm welcome? Unity is a life that works for you and a life that works for all. Those are powerful words. That alone would take a lot of reflection, and I know you do that here. A life that works for us, a life that works for everybody. Nobody excluded. Not even animals. There's a little kitty here this morning that passed around, and I love to tell people that I work with and deal with in the Catholic Church that, oh, Unity, they have this part of their service where you bring in animals. That's wonderful, part of your ministry here. You include them. It's a deep and wonderful inclusion to have in a church. While I have longed for the freedom that forgiveness can bring, I have discovered that forgiveness costs. Being attentive to what is needed. It takes consciousness. It takes action on our part to make right what is wrong in the world. Forgiveness without action is easy, costing us little. Just say the words. Anyone can say that. But what are you going to do about it? This kind of forgiveness is a cheap forgiveness when you just say, I forgive you. That's cheap. That's easy. Not worth a whole lot. The words are sweet. We love hearing them. But an authentic path of forgiveness calls for the difficult work of restoring a deeply wounded world. Restoring it as artisans of the common good. A dignifying and beautiful title given to all people by Pope Francis. He says, we are artisans of the common good. Not just the artists who paint those beautiful pictures, they're in your gallery, or the artisans here who've blessed us with the beautiful music. They have worked so hard and sang so beautifully. But all of us artists with our lives, thinking creatively about how we can live them. Our work is that of a wounded people who are radically free to act on our values and principles. Name what you believe in and work to bring that about in the world. That's what forgiveness requires, genuine forgiveness. We are free enough to ask with our lives that respect, inclusiveness, and compassion is what we believe in and what we stand for. Our struggle with forgiveness, both personal and collective, contributes to a daunting and sacred global task of restoring the whole world. That's a big job. It takes every one of us. Franciscan friar Richard Rohr, a friend and brother to me, speaks of forgiveness as having the power to lead us to our true selves. He says, we find our identity in a larger source. Richard Rohr calls forgiveness one of the most radically freeing things a human being can do. It involves letting go of our own offended identity and finding it in God. We receive the radical freedom so that we may be motivated to contribute to the sacred global task of healing the world, restoring the world to the way God intends it to be. Yeshua, the name I love to call Jesus because it's his own Aramaic name, the name his mother and father called him, the name his friends called him in his own lifetime, Yeshua. Yeshua's words about forgiveness found in the prayer he taught his followers are familiar. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. That translation is taken from Greek texts of the Bible, and they give way to deeper meanings and metaphors that we find in translation from texts written in the Aramaic language that he spoke. That phrase translated from that language says, untangle the knots within. Untangle the knots within me so that we can mend our heart's simple ties to one another. Forgiveness is about restoring our connections with one another and with the whole world, with all people of the world, and to work tirelessly at doing that work. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But that's the job we've been given to do. Untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to one another. The inner knots of unforgiveness give way to the radical freedom of living in the joy that is our birthright as beloved daughters and sons of God. So, how is the question answered? What do I have to say to a deeply wounded, bandaged, and blind world that may or may not be asking for forgiveness? What am I going to do as an artisan of the common good? And what are we going to do together? What does Unity Chicago do together? You do lots already, I know that. How are we consciously aware and choosing what we are doing, how we are making a difference with one another personally and with the whole world around us, with the whole city around us, even the animals that are found abandoned in the streets? Our struggle with forgiveness brings a newfound intimacy with God, in whose arms we can find rest and in whose heart we can find a home. Come and rest in the arms of God. Leave your worry and fear. Make your home in the heart of God. God will dry every tear. For the burden you carry will fade within God's care. Come and rest in the arms of God. I'd like to sing that song for you and have you join me after I sing. I'll sing it once and have you join me. Come and rest in the arms of God. Leave your worry and fear. Make your home in the heart of God. God will dry every tear. For the burden you carry will rest within God's care. Come and rest in the arms of God. Please join me. Come and rest in the arms of God. Leave your worry and fear. Make your home in the heart of God. God will dry every tear. For the burden you carry will fade within God's care. Come and rest in the arms of God. Take a few moments in the silence to let your heart hear what it has heard. Is there a takeaway message for you to place there and take with you for the rest of the week or the rest of your life even? Forgiveness. I forgive you. Such beautiful words and so hard to speak, so hard to hear. It's what the world needs. It's what we all need. How do we work for that? Not an easy task. But if we rest in the arms of God, we can do it. If we make our home in the heart of God, it's possible. For God will dry every tear. And the burden we carry will fade within his arms. I invite you now to please put your hands together, position of prayer, and join me in saying our gratitude affirmation. Divine love, richly flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful for the blessings of this day. I am grateful for the blessings on the way.
Okay, choir. Come on, people, get up. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is the source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. And so I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
So, God of our lives and our abundance, you give us everything we need. And you've given us so much. And these offerings are a symbol of your generosity, that we gather together to be generous, to support not only unity, but other people, myself as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for your generosity of realizing that we have enough and that others have little. And our job is to give out of our abundance and to be generous, to give it away, and to trust we'll have more tomorrow. When you're in touch with the source of generosity, you can afford to be generous. And so may the generosity that we have here today spread throughout the world in one way or another, not only with funds that are needed in support of this place and other charities that you have, but the abundance of our generous hearts that warmly welcome the outsider, warmly welcome those who are searching for a place to belong, For those who need to say, I'm glad you're here. You belong here. May generosity be the ground upon which we stand and walk. Amen. Thank you.
We invite you to speak the names of those that you would like held in prayer into this sacred space. Jeff. We ask that you include the names of those who are asking for prayer on the screen and those here who have a prayer need in their heart. The prayer chaplain for this service is to be determined. Okay, today's flowers are generously donated by Julia Bunn and Ben Hollis. It is in honor of their 22nd wedding anniversary. Wow, Julia. We got married on June 8th, 1996, under a giant oak tree in Plano, Illinois. Second time around for both of us, Ben became a dad just like that. Two spunky and beautiful little girls. We have supported each other by the grace of God, our goddess, through the loss of parents, medical challenges, financial pinches, and big lifestyle changes. Light, love, and laughter were and continue to be our divine inspiration. We pray to be ever open to change, to go with the flow. Thank you, Unity family, for continually bathing us in the sunlight of spirit. Thank you, Julia and Ben. Congratulations. And now it's time to welcome our new visitors. If this is your first, second, third, fourth, 12th time, 13th, if you haven't been here for a while, we're glad you're back. Raise your hand so we can see where and who you are. There we go, right there. Welcome, 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 welcome. The people passing out flowers are members of our welcome team, and they'd love to personally greet you after this service today, okay? And we have this wonderful gallery, too, for you to visit. Along with the welcome flower, you're given a visitor's card, which I do have at this service, okay? It's one of these. And if you could complete that, we would really like to get to know who you are, and so glad you're here. Thank you. A couple last little, we're going to give you a tote bag. Free. I have a few little reminders. The pet ministry is here. Is Carol up here now? Well, you all have seen this little kitty that's still around here, and only for a week. But oh no, that's not the one that's here today. But I'm sure that one is valid. See Carol for information to take home a pet for this wonderful ministry. You can either foster or become a forever home. The youth ministry is in need of adult volunteers for Kids Expressing. Summer programs, Sundays, July 1st to September 2nd are available. Pick the one that works best for you and share a topic of your choice for 30 to 40 minutes. Please sign up in the friendship room downstairs, 30 to 40 minutes, come on. Okay, there are still limited tickets available for a day of fun and sun. We have a guarantee on that? Just saying. Okay, ask Michelle. I think she has a beeline, or Mark. Mark and Michelle are hosting. It's next Saturday, June 16th, $50 for adults, $10 for children. You can sign up at the Unity table. The Sunshine Gallery team is excited to announce a new art show themed Face to Face. And it has 10 artists presenting their diverse and thought-provoking work. Please join us today, right after the service, for the opening artist reception at 12:30. You can stay connected to Unity in Chicago by visiting our website at unitychicago.org. The board members are also happy to answer any questions that you may have. They're wearing name tags so you can identify them. Diane is taking the hard questions. I'm taking the easy ones. Now let's welcome back Higher Ground. Come on. Oh, sorry, Scott.
For our final song, we are going to do our traditional. This is actually the 10th time I've directed this song. The very first time I started directing the choir, we did it 10 years ago. This is You Raise Me Up, and we include a slideshow of people in our lives that have raised us up, pets, people, whether living or not living. And I invite you to think about those people in your life that have raised you up over the years. Also want to thank, the slideshow was done by Tom Duncan and Pam Parker.
This is my song, a song for all the nations, a song of peace for lands of far and wide. This is my hope, the country where my heart is. On other lands have skies as blue as brown, and distant hearts are beating with hopes and dreams as true and bright as mine. When I am down and oh, my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdens me, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up throughout my stormy sea. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up.
Thank you, Scotty and Higher Ground. I'm thinking maybe a summer barbershop quartet. What a great idea, Connie. Okay, come on, let's stand up and weave us home, huh? Okay. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yea, God, and yea, us. Woo!